Okay, good morning and welcome to this week's edition of NCompass Live. I am your host, Krista Burns, here at the Nebraska Library Commission. NCompass Live is the Commission's weekly online event where we cover anything that may be of interest to librarians across the state and nowadays across the country. We have people from all over that come and attend our sessions. We do these sessions every Wednesday morning live at 10 a.m. Central Time, and they are free and open to anyone to attend. And they are all recorded. So if you are unable to attend one of our live sessions, you can always go to our website, which we have up here, and go to our archived NCompass live sessions link, and you will see a list of all the recordings of our shows that we have done going back to the very beginning when we started in January 2009 was our first show. So everything is up there, recordings, if there were slides, PowerPoint slides included, they will be there. If there are links, handouts, whatever, we include everything we can on our recordings. So this morning we have a special session today, I'll say. Originally, we had scheduled for today to have Sally Gardner-Reed, who is the Executive Director of ALTAF, come and speak with us. She was unable to attend this week, last minute change. She has been rescheduled for June 20th, so if you're interested in that, she will be back with us on June 20th to talk with us. But we were lucky enough to get today Susan Knisely, who's our online services librarian here at the Library Commission, to come and show us a actual hands-on demo of this Sony Reader Wi-Fi device. You can say hello, Susan, since you're here.
Hi, everyone.
So we're going to switch over to camera. She's going to talk to us about what the device does, how you can use it, anything to do with it, with maybe some OverDrive related questions and things. So she'll be doing that. So I'm going to switch over to the camera view for her. So bear with us while we see how this all works. If we did it right. There we go. You should be seeing now a view of her holding the device. We'll adjust the camera as we need to if we think we do. So I guess I'll just hand over to Susan and you can go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thanks, Krista. Well, one of the reasons we decided that we would like to do a demo of the Sony Reader Wi-Fi is that it's a device that doesn't have a lot of market share in Nebraska, and based on surveys and other polls that we've seen, it doesn't necessarily have a lot of market share in the United States at this point. But it does have some very unique features that in some cases will make it a really good solution for patrons who are interested in an ebook reader and want to use OverDrive. It is really the first standalone e-reader device, as in not a tablet, not the higher-end tablet, but an ebook reader that has built-in OverDrive support. It would be a good solution for someone who doesn't have a computer and wants an e-reader that they can connect to a wireless network in order to get access to OverDrive. And so we want to go ahead and go through some of the features of this e-reader and talk a little bit about it. This device came out in the fall of 2011. It's very lightweight. It's about 6 ounces. This is an e-ink device, so it is not color. It's grayscale. It's going to require an external light source, so you can't read it in the dark without some sort of book light. But it is going to be readable in bright sunlight, so that kind of gives you puts it into a particular category. It's in that way like most of the Kindles and like the Nook Symbol Touch. It's a touch-sensitive device, so you can touch the screen in order to navigate. And like I said, it does have, when you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, it does have built-in OverDrive support. And so that's something we're going to look at in some depth once we get into the demo.
I'm not sure how it's getting.
Okay. This device is actually, it's not the cheapest, but it's definitely not the most expensive. I just looked yesterday, and it is running at the moment on the Sony web page. It's running $129.99. So definitely it's going to be cheaper than something like an iPad or you know, a Galaxy tablet of some sort. It's going to do a lot less, but yet if you've got somebody who needs a standalone device that they can use as an e-reader, and maybe they don't have a computer, this might be a really good device for them. So let's go ahead then, and I'm just going to go ahead and start walking you through the device. It's very simple, very thin, as you can see. There's nothing on the top or the side. On the bottom, you've got the power button, you've got a headphone jack, you've got a USB where you can plug your micro USB in, and a reset button. And then on the left side, you do have a little slot that you can put a micro SD card in for additional storage. So right now, this is in sleep mode, and so I just have to push the power button once to get it turned on. The Sony Reader Wi-Fi does have 5 silver buttons along the bottom of the screen. There's on the starting from left to right, there's a left and right page navigation button. So these buttons you can use to either, when you're in a book, page left or right through the book. And also if you are in a list, a menu list, or if you're on a website that is multi-screens long, you can use these buttons to scroll up and down through a list. Right in the center, there's a home button. You can push this home button at any point to get right back to the screen you are seeing right now. There's what they call a back button. It looks like a little arrow turning backwards. And this is sort of similar to your browser back button. It lets you back up from wherever you currently are. So if you are in the web browser on this device and you're on a website, you can back up a page. It also lets you back out of a menu, so if you've selected a menu option, or if you've opened a menu and decide you don't want to select any of the options, you can just back out. Over on the right is a context-sensitive menu options button, and as you press that throughout your navigations, you're going to get different options in different places. So we'll take a look at that throughout as we hit applicable spots. So just to give you an orientation to the home screen, the home screen at the very top, you always have a continue reading option that shows you the last book that was read, and you can tap on that to continue reading the book you were most recently reading. Shows you recently added books, the last 3 books that you've added to the device. And then you've got what they call applications, and we always think about applications as little programs that you can add to a device. In this case, these just are what I would call menu options. These are functionalities and features that they've built into the device, and this is where you can access them. And I do want to show you right here, it does say page 1 of 2, so the home screen is actually 2 pages long. You've got a books option, and that's going to be where you would access a list of all the books that you currently have loaded on the device. You can access the Sony Reader Store, which is their online bookstore, and that's a place where you can go to purchase content. If you've subscribed to any periodical subscriptions, you can access issues of the periodicals there. There's a collections option that allows you to group your content into collections of your own devising. Now I'm going to go ahead and just click on that little caret to go to page 2. And you'll see here on the top of this page, you've got a public library option. And that is where they have built-in access to OverDrive. And so we're not going to go there right now, but before we finish today's session, we'll spend quite a bit of time looking at that option. They have a Google Books option, which is interesting because when you go there, you get a message that says Google Books are no longer supported through the Sony Reader Store, but they do give you access, a quick link to access free books through the Sony Reader Store, so you do still have an option to get some free books. You can go directly to a web browser and browse the web, but I will say, and some of you may be familiar with this, E-ink doesn't really lend itself to a smooth or really satisfying web browsing experience. There's a lot of screen flicker with e-ink devices, and so as far as thinking about using this as a web browser, it's probably not going to be optimal. The web browsing is supported and is necessary to get content from OverDrive, but it's not going to be like browsing the web on an iPad or something like that. Purchased content lets you get access to any Sony Reader books that you've purchased and maybe haven't downloaded from the store yet. Then you've got some what they call reference applications. You can get access to any notes you've added to any of the books that are currently loaded on the device. You can go straight to a dictionary application and look up words in a dictionary. You can get access to and or create handwritten notes or text memos to yourself. You can have access to pictures or audio files. And finally, you have settings. And I'm just going to jump into settings briefly. We're not going to go into all of these. The main thing is to know where the settings are. And I do want to specifically point out the wireless network settings, since having wireless network access is pretty important to the functionality of this device. Let's go in here for a second. One of the first things that I just want to point out is there is a little toggle that turns Wi-Fi connectivity on or off. And so do always want to make sure that Wi-Fi is on. There's also a wireless standby option, and what this does is if you are connected to Wi-Fi and you're just reading your book and you're not using the Wi-Fi network, it will sort of go into standby mode, and that just helps preserve your battery life. For the purposes of this demo, though, I'm going to take that standby mode off just so that we really are connected to Wi-Fi. And then finally, there's the Wi-Fi settings option that you can use to scan for available networks, find a network to connect to, or confirm that you are connected to a network, and we are connected to a network. So having reviewed those, I'm going to go ahead and press my home button to return to the home screen. And the last thing I want to point out here before we go in and start looking at some books is there is a black status bar at the top of the screen, and this will give you some information. It's got a battery indicator. There's also a Wi-Fi indicator that shows you signal strength, whether you're connected or not, or in standby mode. And when we actually go through the process of downloading books, you'll also see notation up here indicating download status. So that is a place to watch for information as well. So let's go ahead, before we actually talk about downloading books, let's just talk a little bit about how you read books on this device. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the books option here. And this is the books display. I've got 2 pages of books here. Most of these books are books that I downloaded free from the Sony Reader store. They're either samples or excerpts or something. This screen gives you several options for displaying. I've got a thumbnail display right now. I could choose a list display. I've got options for sorting, if I want to sort alphabetically by latest read, etc. And I've got a magnifying glass search option. So if I had purchased and downloaded many, many books and I needed to search for them and I couldn't find them by scrolling, I could use that search option. There's one little icon that I do want to point out for you. You'll notice that the third book on the top row by Billy Graham has a little, looks like a little clock to the left of it, and it says 7. That's actually a book that I checked out and downloaded from OverDrive yesterday, and so it does show the number of days remaining, the number of the checkout period remaining, so it does count that down for you. So that that's one book that's a little bit different than the others that are permanently loaded on this device.
Is that something that all the devices do for the OverDrive books, or is that special for this
Usually there's some sort of countdown or banner that indicates the checkout period, so that's somewhat typical. As far as what you can do at this point, I do want to show you, now this is a good point to look at that menu option that is context sensitive. So when we're looking at the list of books or the display of books on the device, if we go down here and press this menu option, you can see we've got options to add books. We can choose books from this display and add to particular collections that we have. We can choose books to delete from the device. There's a protect book option which actually just lets you put a little padlock on it so you won't accidentally delete it. And then you'll see in this case, because we do have a book that is checked out from the library through OverDrive, we have a return books option. So that's something that can be done directly through this menu. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my back button to back out of that menu now and just talk a little bit about then accessing books. As you can imagine, you can just tap once quickly on the cover and a book will open. You can also press and hold on the book cover and get a little pop-up menu, and in this case you've got open option, delete option, protect option, which again puts a little lock next to it that keeps you from accidentally deleting it, and then some information about the book. So in this case I'm going to go ahead and do open. This particular book was one that I downloaded free from the Sony Reader store. If this was a book that had been checked out from OverDrive, I would also have a return option. So I'm going to go ahead and do open. So this is the book. It opened to chapter 3. That's where I last left off. And in terms of navigating the book, it's pretty straightforward. Again, I can use my left and right page navigation buttons to navigate. I can also use the touch screen and just swipe through pages. And also you'll see there is a little page notation at the bottom of the screen. If I tap that, it does bring up a page navigation menu. I have an option to enter a specific page number. I can access a table of contents. And I also have a scroll bar that lets me scroll through the book. So these are fairly typical navigation options for e-reader devices. You'll notice right now that our font is very small, so now is a good chance to talk about some of the options for changing the view. So again, I'm going to click on the menu option here. And now I have the font option, so let's go ahead and increase that font. I can change the font face if I have a particular preference for type of font I like. So I can choose a different font face if I want. And then more importantly, I can go ahead and choose a larger font size. And let's go up one more. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and back out of that menu now. And let's just go back and look at some of the other menu options while we're here. Again, I have a notes option, and that lets me see a list of any notes or annotations that I have made within this particular book. So you'll see I do have a couple notes added to this book already. I have a handwriting option, so I can actually turn on a little function that lets me make annotations on the screen if I want to underline or highlight or circle something, and then I can just erase that if I want. And then I have a more option, and I can search within the text of the book for a particular word. I can change my orientation from portrait to landscape if I want, and then I have a couple settings available to me. So as I said, there is that context-sensitive menu as well. The option you're probably going to be most interested in is the font size change. In terms of what you can do with the text when you're in a book, you can always tap in the upper right-hand corner to bookmark the page. you'll see it looks like the book page is turned down. Tap again to unbookmark. You can touch, press, and hold on a word, and that will look the word up in a dictionary. You'll see there's a little dictionary definition at the bottom of the screen. And then you also have options to highlight the word, add notes to the word, search for the word within the book, or look it up in Wikipedia or on Google. There's also a little handle to the left and right of the word, and so you can drag and highlight a larger section of text if you want. And so now that I've got a section highlighted, I can click on the highlight button, and now it's permanently highlighted. So that's one of the ways you can do some annotation. One other thing you can do, and this is probably more of interest if you've got a photograph or something that you're trying to see close up, you can do, you know, pinching in and out to zoom. Obviously, with text that's of limited value, it's more useful to increase the font size, but it's good to know that that's a possibility. So that is kind of an overview of how you'd actually open up a book, read it, and some of the special functionality that you have access to. So if you guys don't have questions about that, let's actually talk about how you can go ahead and get a book and download a book on the device. So I'm going to go ahead and go back home. And we're going to go ahead then and look at that OverDrive functionality in here. So as many of you are aware, usually if a person has something like a Nook or a Kindle, they do need to also have access to a computer in order to search the Nebraska OverDrive Library's website, find a book, and in the case of the Nook, they have to download it to a computer and then use Adobe Digital Editions to transfer it to the device. In the case of the Kindle, they need to log into their Amazon account and then send the book to their Kindle device. So there is that extra step of having to do something on a computer. In this particular case, all the patron has to do is come here, click on Public Library. Now what it does is it actually does open the web browser and takes the patron to a page that gives them the option of finding a library, finding an OverDrive library. So they can enter the name of their library, the state or province it's located in, or a zip code, or they can browse for a library geographically. In this particular case, I've already searched for Nebraska OverDrive Library's website and bookmarked it. So to access bookmarks, I can click on this little heart up here. You'll see I have the Nebraska OverDrive Library's website bookmarked, and I've also got Project Gutenberg bookmarked. So I'm going to go ahead and go down to the Nebraska OverDrive Library's website. And it does take me to the mobile version of the Nebraska OverDrive Library's website. Now this is where you may notice what I was talking about in terms of web browsing on an e-ink device. There is a screen flicker that you would not be getting if you were using an LCD screen like an iPad or something like that. So it's a little bit jarring at first, and there are some tricks that you can use to make it a little more smooth. So anyway, here we are on the Nebraska OverDrive Library's website. They do have featured ebooks. They show you 4. You can click on the little More button to continue to browse through featured ebooks. You can also use some of their menu options to either search or browse. So they've got, and this is where it can be a little bit difficult to view this in grayscale. There is a browse option and a search option. So I'm going to go ahead and click on search first. And all that really does is it opens up a little search box. If I were to tap in the search box, it brings up an on-screen keyboard, and so I could type in a search term, a word from a book title or an author's name, something I wanted to search for. And I just hit my little back button to back out of that. I also want to show you now there's an option to search the total library collection, or there's a little radio button that you can click to say only search for titles that are available now. And that means, of course, books that are not currently checked out, there are copies available to check out. So that's one search option. There's also an advanced search option here. And one thing that I've discovered, sometimes the screen doesn't refresh quite as quickly as you think it is going to, and so sometimes I found myself tapping on something twice when I should have only tapped on it once, so that's again something to be aware of. This is the advanced search screen, and this is where I just want to show you a little bit about what I mean by browsing or scrolling on an e-ink device. If I scroll, it's really jarring. You'll notice that the screen is trying to refresh constantly. So it's really, your eyes keep trying to focus and everything's out of focus. So what I try to do when I've got multiple screens I want to scroll through is I use these page buttons. I find it less jarring just to jump a page at a time. So anyway, I've got all my advanced search options if I want to do that. What I actually like to do in this particular case is they have a browse option. And they will give you the option of browsing for all Adobe EPUB ebook titles, all Adobe PDF titles, or all public domain titles. Or if you continue to scroll down, they've got categories broken out. So you can browse juvenile fiction, literature, mystery, suspense, romance, etc., all fiction. Or they've got similar categories for nonfiction. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to browse all fiction. I've got 3,181 titles here. I've got a little option that says available now, and so I'm going to go ahead and tap that checkbox to say only show me titles that are available now. And I'm going to resubmit my search. And now I've got 802 titles, all of which are available to check out. So this is the point at which then, you would go through and identify something that you were interested in. So again, I would just use the page buttons to scroll through and find something. I'm going to go ahead and just choose Mistletoe Mine since it's available. It's an EPUB ebook, so I'm going to say add to cart. Proceed to checkout. It's going to ask me to choose my library. So I have a long list again that I can scroll through to find my library. And it saved my login, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on login. It's giving me an option to change my checkout period. I'm going to leave it at 7 days. Now this is something that is a little bit misleading, and it's just the way the screen happens to fall. But the button that I need to click on is just down below the edge of the screen, so I have to scroll to the next page, and you'll see I have a confirm checkout button. Okay, the book is now checked out to me, and so now I have the download option. So all I have to do is click on download, And now if you'll watch the status bar up in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see there is a little indicator that the book is downloading. There's a little arrow that keeps pointing down. And if I want to check on the status, I can actually tap up there, and I can see that my book is in the process of downloading. It tells me the download is complete, so now I'm just going to go back home. And under recently added, it shows up right there. And I can tap it and open it and go in and start reading it. So I've been able to go to the OverDrive website through my Sony Reader Wi-Fi, check out a book, download it, all without having to connect to a computer. So as you can see, this is going to be a real benefit for some people who don't necessarily want to be tied to a computer as long as they have access to Wi-Fi. I'm going to go ahead and go back, and we'll go ahead and go back and look at our books list. And you'll see now we've got 2 books that have little countdown icons next to them that are checkout from the library. Again, at this point, if I wanted to check books in, I could click on my menu option. I've got return books. If I click on that, it will put a little checkbox next to each book that is a library book. So I've got 2 books that I can choose from, and I could either check both of those books, return them both at once, or just check one, and then I can say done and check that book in. So now I've got 1 book still checked out and 1 book's been returned. So that's really a pretty good overview of the Sony Reader Wi-Fi, some of the unique features. I guess I'd like to open it up now and see if you guys have questions that you might like to ask about this device.
Yes, so if you have any questions, feel free and type them into the questions section of the interface, the GoToWebinar interface, if you want to. Yeah. There we go. We're back. Yeah, if you have any questions, type them into the question section, or comments, anything you want to see, or if you have a microphone, let us know and we can unmute you and you can ask your question that way. Nothing had come in while you were doing the session. I was just going to say what you just said at the end there about how everything was done right here on the device of finding books in your library, downloading them, getting them on there without needing a computer. I've heard that a lot of people have problems where they just decide they're going to be nice and get their mom or their grandma an e-reader of some sort for Christmas, woohoo, not realizing that grandma doesn't have a computer or mom doesn't want to have to go to her computer to do this, and many of the other devices require that in-between connection.
Right.
And this one doesn't. So
this one
makes them very attractive to that kind of a
yes, but it doesn't cost as much as an iPad, which of course
that too
is $500. And it's really interesting talking to people in class because there is sort of the clunky aspect of browsing the web on an e-ink device. It's a little clunky, and some people really hate it. So at the end of class, we've asked people what they think of these devices, and we've had one person say, I absolutely hate this, I would never want this. And then the person next to them say, this would be perfect for my mom because she doesn't have a computer and I just need something as simple as possible for her. So it really varies based on the person, their needs. If they're somebody who's really comfortable with touchscreen devices, they've got, smartphone and all, this might drive them crazy.
Right.
But if they just want a simple e-reader and they don't want to have to worry about connecting to a computer, this might be really nice.
Yeah, because there's many people. Everyone is, it's all over the place. Everyone's jumping on the e-reader, e-books bandwagon at every level. And for the person who doesn't care about browsing the web, doesn't go and surf all the time, doesn't do any of that kind of social networking things, just wants something easy, small, light, compact to carry around to have their 50 books on.
Right.
And if that's their only reason for needing something, this is the thing. This is
And
one of the things that's perfect for that. For someone who needs more of that other functionality, you're going to want something else, and you probably know that already because you're one of those higher level type people who enjoy everything electronic.
And even if you don't have wireless access at home because you don't have a computer, you can get wireless almost anywhere anymore.
Oh, now, yeah.
So, the local McDonald's or wherever. So, and also, someone can bring this in, use the library's Wi-Fi, get some books downloaded on it, and then go home, and they don't have to be connected to Wi-Fi to read on it.
Right. Don't have to even use the library's computers.
Right. Yeah. This is a device that OverDrive is actually highlighting as a device that would be useful for libraries if libraries wanted to own a couple devices that they would circulate with patrons, because it doesn't have to be tied to a particular computer. It's easy to manage from that standpoint in terms of, it doesn't always have to be connected to the same computer because of an Adobe ID that has to be coordinated. This device does actually, I guess I should say, when you first get it out of the box and you first set it up, it is going to prompt you to either sign in to the device with a Sony Reader Store account or create a Sony Reader Store account. And once you create that account, which basically consists of an email address, which documentation says doesn't even have to be valid, and a password, it uses that behind the scenes as your Adobe ID. So there is an Adobe ID involved in this, but it doesn't have to be tied to a computer at all. It's not like you have to download the OverDrive Media Console app onto the device. That's already built in. So there's that one step of creating that account, which sort of stands as an Adobe ID, and then you're ready to go. So.
Sounds easy, yeah. Karen Drivo here from Norfolk does say that she has a Sony Wi-Fi, and I just love it. It's so easy to use if all you want to do is read. It not only works easily with OverDrive, I also love the Sony Reader Store. So their own built-in store as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got to say, I have a Nook Simple Touch, which is similar in terms of size. It's not fair because obviously I use the Sony Nook Simple Touch a lot, so I like it better.
You get used to it.
I'm used to it. I like the way the screen is, etc. But I do have to, if I want to get OverDrive content on it, I have to go downstairs, boot up my computer, search the OverDrive website, download something, and transfer it over. So there was one night about 9:30 at night, and I finished my book. I'm in bed, and I really wanted something else to read, but I didn't want to go downstairs and go do that on the computer. And so I did browse I browsed the Barnes & Noble store, which of course I could access wirelessly through my Nook Simple Touch, and actually went through the trouble of finding a book that was inexpensive that I sort of wanted to read, and I spent $4.95 to buy a book because I didn't want to have to get out of bed. So, that's pretty pathetic. But, that would be a situation where this would have, if I'd had a device like this, I would have found something on OverDrive and gotten it. But
yeah, you do what you got to do.
Yeah.
To keep yourself entertained.
Yeah. So that's just sort of an example of where this would have, the added functionality of this device would have been nice on it. And it would have saved me $4.95. So
yeah. Does anybody have any other questions or comments or anything about the device or about the OverDrive group too? I know some of you are in it, so you might not need to ask any questions about it, but.
Well, people can always contact me.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything urgent coming in right
offline. Otherwise, at least, we've had a good experience trying to see how a live demo like this works, and we can see how the recording works and if that's useful to have online. So.
Yeah, I don't know if this is something we would do with any of the other devices that we have.
Yeah, we certainly could. Yeah.
So if you're interested in seeing some other device that we may have one here, or something else, we could possibly do this. Let us know.
Right.
And we could set up for other sessions of the same kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. It looks like it's coming through pretty nicely. I'm looking on just a laptop here. I know some of you might be looking on desktops and getting a better view, and I'm also on wireless, which does make a difference. That doesn't look like anything urgent is coming through at the moment. So I think if that's it, nobody has any desperate questions, as Susan said, give her a call, email, whatever, about this device or the OverDrive group or any of the devices that we do have. Her and Michael Sowers have been going on the stage doing e-reader trainings, so you may have attended one of those. I assume are there more coming up?
We've got a couple more scheduled, and I know there's demand to schedule more, so we're sort of...
It'll be an ongoing kind
of... Yes, it's ongoing.
Thing. Okay, great. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for attending.
Yeah. I'm going to switch over to, let's get rid of this. You don't need to see that on top of everything. Okay, well, thank you very much, everyone, for attending and watching our live demo of the Sony Reader Wi-Fi. It was very cool. We have a Nook in our house, which we love and we use a lot. I don't know. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, this is like nothing. It's nothing. I don't know if we would have gone with these or not. I know when we first got the Nook, I was it's got the games on it and browsing, and it is color. Yeah. But we've pretty much just used it for the books. So.
And do you check out OverDrive books?
Haven't found any yet that we've been interested in, but I'm just getting started with that. We have set it up and looked at them and whatnot. It's just what's available, the kind of things that we are into, fantasy, sci-fi type things. Not a lot of those in there, so it doesn't really go to us. But we do use a lot of stuff in the Nook store, anything free that's out there, yeah. So, okay, so thank you very much for attending this week. We hope, as I said, the session was supposed to be today. A conversation with Sally Gardner-Reed, Executive Director of ALTAF, has been rescheduled for June 20th, so hopefully you'll join us then for that. And next week, hopefully you'll join us. We invite you to join us for Addressing Your Roots, Searching the 1940 Census. This was just released a month or two ago. I forget exactly when. And we have some of our staff here at the Library Commission are going to show you how you can actually use it now that all that information is out there and available to everyone. So sign up for that one and learn how to find all of your ancestors from 1940 on the census. So thank you very much for attending, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.